Hey everybody, welcome to the nightly vid. I imagine it's going to come out late as I've got to leave in about 15 minutes, but let's get started anyways. Starting with the SPY. You're going to see on the daily basis here, we are 2 down green with the gap down buy on a Monday. In after hours, it looks like it's down a little bit, so what we'll be aware of is although it was gap down buy, it's still 2 down week, 2 down day, it was a 2 down month, and we've got the new quarter opening next quarter. So why is that important to us? If the quarter is green, we have quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily 60 continuity back through a scenario 3 broadening formation. If it opens red, we could turn into a 3-2 down expansion and potentially go outside year to take out 46692 or 46592. So that's something we need to know about for sure. That being said, though, this is our daily broadening formation, and we're closer to a 2-2 up unless we gap down tomorrow and open as a 1. Qs. Same thing, gap down buy. See the bottom of the daily broadening formation. Again, outside quarter, we need to know about that. We'll notice on all of these, we're going to have a 3 last week. So above last week's lows, 46778. That's when we want to know about for an outside week. If we're not above that, then we're 3-2 down and we're expanding lower. So we want to know that. If we go to the Dow Jones, it's going to look very similar. You'll see the daily gap down, and this is still a little bit stronger than other indexes. So relative strength in the Dow Jones. IBM, you're going to see this is the weakest of the bunch. It was a 2 down last quarter. And this is your daily triangle. So given it's weaker, I prefer not to buy that back up. That being said, that's what we see to start the week. If we go to crude oil goes 3-3 to start the week off. Notice broadening formation. And that sets up the hammer month. So going into tomorrow, we got hammer month in crude, which tells us to look at the energies. XLE, outside hammer month above this, 94.82. We'd be closer to 2 up continuation day with full time frame continuity. And if this monthly goes 3-2, we trigger inside quarter up 3-1-2. This tells you XOP, hammer month. And that is going to be above 135.46. We opened outside day Monday, so we must exit that broadening formation here, which you're going to see on the 60-minute, and stay out of that, above 132.69. OIH is in there as well, but slightly weaker. We'll be aware of it. Closer to 2-2 day on a Tuesday in the energies. It tells you things like XOM. Starts the week already going up. So unless we go 2-2 on a Tuesday, closer to 3-2 quarter and a 1-3-2 on the month. Compound 1. This could cause 3-2 year to expand this. If you recall the energy trade from 2022. If we go to COP, it's going to be closer to the outside bar hammer month to the upside. Starts the week off as a 2-up day. And we have a hammer quarter at the bottom of the quarterly triangle, trying to go for an outside year. Which you'll see like this. Here's your yearly broadening formation. Here's your quarterly hammer at the bottom of it with your monthly hammer. If we go to Ontario Energy, this is another energy name, is a little weaker, but the 3-2 month setting up, it was going up last quarter. If we go to BP, BP was already going up last quarter, maybe a 2-2 on a Tuesday. It is slightly weaker, but it used to be somebody a lot higher with the inside month BP if that starts kicking in. And then FANG, one of the big ones we want to know about, potentially 2-2 month, maybe 2-2 quarter. So energy's in there. We'll see for turnaround Tuesday. Leaders we'll see here, Staples. Staples are 2 up today with a 3-2 up on the month. If you're in the stat premium group, we mentioned to you guys last week, this was setting up for the Rev Strat. Went Rev Strat last week and it's following through this week. This tells us to be looking at defensive names, which will include the utilities. And if you remember the nightly vid, we had inside day utilities and up, which is still good. That being said, in the staples, we have our favorite right here, Mondelez. Inside day Mondelez. So that being said, we'll look for inside up tomorrow to trigger the 2-2 quarter in Mondelez. And this would confirm last week's 2-2 week, which we mentioned as an entry back into the winning position we took down here on the hammer week. This would cause a continuation month to go 3 year. If we go to Pepsi, it was weaker today. So if staples do go weak, Pepsi 3-2-2 on a Tuesday. The market's recovering and that's down. That's a problem for the Pepsi guys to cause Rev Strat week, maybe triggering a 2-2 month down while the staples firm up. Coca-Cola, you'll see started 3-2 up, and same thing, you want to stay up there or else you get 3-2-2 with Pepsi, and that's a problem. If we go to TSN, which is in your foods with Mondelez, TSN starts the week off very strong. RevStrat quarter above 64.16 in the staples. If we go to UL, we'll see UL closer to the RevStrat quarter, and it is 3-2 up month and RevStrat week this week, although it didn't do much. So Mondelez is a little stronger there. MO was an outperformer today. You'll see the 2-2 week up with full time frame continuity. And at this point, it's a 2-up year continuation, expanding its yearly broadening formation. We take a look here. See the slight higher highs and the lower lows. So if that works above any of this stuff, 5791, we're looking for all-time highs MO. This tells you Philip Morris. Also is a little bit of an outperformer today. Just continuation month. Year is bright, bright green and an outside quarter to go 3-2. This is something we want to know about. They're definitely buying PM this year. Above 159.71, we would like to know about that next quarter. If we go to the technologies, we're going to see in the tech, a lot of the big 7 names are 2 down in green. So to start the week, these will be weaker. Notice nowhere near reverse of the month. Right? Could go 3 on the week though. So Meta be in there. It is down after hours. Google could be in there. 2-2 day on a Tuesday. Again, nowhere near reversing any of this stuff. So it's really just hard to buy the tech when it's so weak. I'd rather go and short the semis. And even the semis, you'll see on Monday, a little bit stronger, right? Could go 3-3 week, but again, you're nowhere near reversing the month. So we just need to be aware of that. Even if this works, the monthly reversal would be what, 235.69 just about. So you'd have to go fully outside week and then trigger the month to reverse anything. And they are gapping down after hours. So if things open weaker tomorrow, we can go to all the semis and look for these kicking patterns on the 4 hours to try and trade them down to cause 3-2 quarters here. And that tells you things like AMD. It should be kicking 4 hour. We can open below this stuff, 100.92. If we go to Marvell, same thing on the 4 hour, maybe back down. Notice it's nowhere near reversing. Would be a 3-2 quarter expansion. AVGO, you see the potentially the kick in 4 hour. We'll see, right? Inside quarter to try and go maybe a 2-2 year. We'll see. It is Pivot Machine Gun. ASML, you see closer to bringing that 4 hour back down. We'll see. Inside quarter to go measured move. This would trigger a RevStrat year ASML, which confirms AMD, which is already RevStrat year. And we already talked about that. If we go to MU, same thing. Maybe 2-2 4 hour inside quarter momentum shooter to trigger RevStrat year and reclaim previous all-time highs. So we want to short these guys is where we'd want to be. We got quarterly signals. We got the semis already going down. If we're going to buy, you can play the tech to the upside. We can expect volatility, but I prefer things like the precious metals, JNUG, GDX, gold. I prefer things like the staples and the utilities as they're already going somewhere and going up. So if we switch this time frame back, you'll see JNUG, the hammer for 2-2 on a Tuesday, bright green this year. If we zoom it in, you'll see it is a 3-2 year to the upside. So guess what? JNUG can explode to 93. That'd be a 30 or 50% move on the stock. And just from our previous signals, it's already moved $10 on the stock or 3-2-2 week. So that would be a reason to add to it. GDX, hammer counter shooter day, same thing. You're going to see on the year, it's continuation, but here's your outside quarter. We can stay out of that. That is broadening formation expansion. And then if we go to gold, you can see it's just gunning. Do you remember this at 312 week in here? I hope you do. 270, almost 290. Gold's trading like a tech stock. This is terrible for the economy, but silver also closer to 2-2 day on a Tuesday to trigger inside quarter. And a silver, I've been pretty adamant about this. I think as long as we're above this stuff in here, 31.8, 48.35 silver. Maybe not this year, may take a year or two, but much like the gold trade on the yearly chart, which is still going, you'll see this inside year gold that we talked about at 192, which is now up over $100 on that. Same thing on silver. I think we're going blasting through all-time highs. So I'd prefer buying there just because we have those macro trends in our favor. If you want to go after the tech, be my guest, right? But I'm going to prefer on the staples and stuff. And if we're going for anything, we want stuff green on the year. So we look at like BABA. You see maybe a 2-2 on a Tuesday. It's green on the year. It's a 2-2 RevStrat year, I believe. Yeah, RevStrat year this year. And a big outside quarter. So much like PM with a 3 quarter, this goes 3-2. I would like to know about that, right? And this 2-2 day, maybe it's strong enough to do that. We'll have to see. But that being said, there's going to be a few more scans I do here, but I'm going to have to hop off and I'll finish this video once I get back home. Here is the gist. You're going to see scenario 3s, Visa, MasterCard, Home Depot, Lowe's. If you're looking for broadening formations to start the week, continuation will be all your staples in here. Mondelez is an inside bar, which will be over here on the inside bar list, with gold looking to continue. We'll see potentially 2-2s to the upside in the SPY, IWM, Qs, Dow Jones, Silver, GDX, JNUG, all going to have potential 2-2s in there as well. 2-2s down, really only Pepsi that I see in there. There might be a few others we're missing. If you want to do that yourself, go for it. And then we added a few inside days, T-Mobile, Allstate, and then CSEP, which is, lower liquidity one, but it's into week, in the month, in the quarter, inside day, if things are strong tomorrow. On the rev strats to the upside, we're going to see Rivian, TDS, FSLR, PMG, although it's been a lot higher. It's nowhere near reversing bigger time frames. It'd be a short term trade to the upside. And then SE. Outside of that, I've got nothing. So I'll see you guys bright and early in the morning on Tuesday. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your night or rest of your morning if you're watching this in the morning. Adios. And I'll see you guys in the next nightly vid.